What if every time you died, they just printed a new version of you? Sounds cool at first, right? Until you realize you're just an expendable lab rat for a space mission that couldn't care less about you. That's the nightmare Robert Pattinson's character faces in Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17. Part sci-fi epic, part dark comedy, 100% existential crisis. I'm gonna talk about why this movie is one part hilarious, one part deeply unsettling, and one part very, very flawed. Bong Joon-ho's latest sci-fi satire that he is adapting from a book called Mickey 7 feels like a chaotic baby made from pieces of Snowpiercer and The Fifth Element. It's a movie packed with themes like worker exploitation, identity crisis, and that slow creeping effect of trauma and how it affects you. It's all filtered through Bong's signature blend of dark comedy and social critique. At the center of it all is Robert Pattinson, delivering one of his most bizarrely brilliant performances yet. He plays Mickey Barnes, a man with absolutely nothing going for him. No family, no real skills, and zero backbone. Basically, if life was a video game, he would be that NPC that you meet a couple times but completely forget that he existed once you move on. Desperate for a way out, he signs up for a space travel program and becomes an expendable, a literal disposable human sent on suicide missions with a safety net of being reprinted with all his memories if he dies. And Pattinson kills it. Pun intended. I'm sorry, I know that was terrible. It was just brutal. From his ridiculous accent to his anxiety-ridden mannerisms, he turns Mickey into a lovable existential mess. By the time we reach Mickey 17, he's developed a reluctant acceptance of his fate. He may hate dying, but hey, it's the job. The film cleverly mirrors real-world injustices, just like how the working class is treated in real life, how they can feel disposable at times in the name of progress. Governments and corporations have a long, brutal, and unnerving history of using vulnerable populations as test subjects for things that they feel is going to be progress and help humanity while sacrificing the few to help the many, when it's really not doing that. It's just affecting everyone. And Bong Joon-ho does not shy away from this. He puts this in the forefront, right in your face, kind of holding a mirror to not only the corporations, the politicians, but us ourselves, how we sit in these uncomfortable truths and we sacrifice some suffering for comfort. The difference here, some of the exploited respawn. Just when Mickey 17 starts to settle into his absurd existence, the film throws a curveball. He doesn't die on a mission, and in this universe, that's a huge problem because his replacement, Mickey 18, has already been printed. Now, two Mickeys, one colony, and a whole lot of chaos ensues. This is where Mickey 17 truly kicks into high gear. What follows is a darkly hilarious sci-fi space adventure as Pattinson pulls in double duty. Brilliance, you can always tell which Mickey is which. Not through makeup, not through CGI, but through his posture, voice, and micro expressions. Mickey 18 is not just a clone, he's a version of Mickey shaped by different sets of traumas that have caught up to him that make him feel slightly off. I think their dynamic, Mickey 17 and Mickey 18, how they interact with each other and how they kind of critique each other's behavior, shows a real struggle, how people feel like how they've been and how they end on the other side of things after they go through a lot of different difficult situations. While Robert Pattinson is given one of the best performances of the year, the supporting cast is equally fantastic. Mark Ruffalo plays the cultist expedition leader, an absolute buffoon with just enough power to be dangerous. Bong Joon-ho insists that he's not a parody of a certain RNG man politician, but clearly Mark Ruffalo got the memo on this one and did his own thing where he is getting clear inspiration from that man. His over-the-top performance, combined with Toni Collette's power-hungry bureaucrat pulling the strings behind the scenes, create a unsettling but really hilarious antagonist in this film that you will not forget. The way they're presented, their politics, and how they have this cult following with red hats really shows the clown show that politics in real life has turned into, and how people say these wild, crazy things while doing the opposite, in terms of like telling you this is great or showing you something that's like, hey, this is for you, but then doing something behind your back that's gonna hurt you in the end. Then there's Naomi Ackie, the film's secret weapon. She plays Nasha, Mickey's love interest and the only person who sees him as a person rather than a disposable asset. Ackie and Pattinson have insane chemistry. Honestly, someone needs to cast them in a rom-com immediately. She also delivers a badass performance as a kind of a veteran cop that is here to police the station that they're at. And I gotta say, she was so good in this in terms of the action sequences and her intensity. Someone should have put her in an action movie like yesterday. Beyond the characters, Mickey 17 shines in its world building. The dystopian future feels unsettlingly plausible. Bong takes his time showing us how the expendable program works, why humanity is colonizing the frozen wasteland that they decided to call Niflheim, and what happens when bureaucracy meets survivalism. Another symbolism is how these people go to this other planet that is already inhabited and trying to colonize it, and how they do these really cool tropes with how you expect alien life form to react to someone coming in on their planet, but kind of subvert it in a way that was really pleasant, while also still embracing other tropes really well and doubling down on them to create like a great juxtaposition. The themes, the performances, the story, and everything is loud, is in your face, but you know what else is in your face and is great? The visuals. Stunning. The deep space sequences, the tech, the creatures of Niflheim. This movie is made for the big screen. But this movie has one major flaw, is that Mickey 17 just has a little bit too much on his plate. It flirts with some big ideas: cloning ethics, a love triangle, planetary colonization, capitalism-induced trauma, but instead of diving deep, it usually goes for the joke. Whenever the film has a chance to be profound, sometimes it might explore it a little bit, but for the most part, it decides to be fun and funny, which is great for the viewer because you're in the theater and you're having a fun time. You're having this escapism, quite like other sci-fi satire films, but sometimes I wish the film took its time, slowed down, and dive deep into some of these themes and flesh them out. Sometimes it felt like it was skipping from one theme to the next set piece, and they didn't always all tie together cleanly. One of the glaringly big holes here is there's a character that's featured through the first 2/3 of the film in kind of a prominent way, but when the third act comes, they kind of disappear. But at the end of the day, Bong Joon-ho intended this movie to be a mirror. It wasn't here to be subtle or have nuance or have it where like it's open-ended and you kind of have to debate. It's put in your face as a mirror to showcase how a lot of times we will accept some suffering to feel a sense of comfort. It's a movie that makes you laugh, but also makes you think about why you're laughing. That sense of we're trying to do things for progress and survival, but what are we doing to the people that live here now? And in the tradition of great satirical, funny, fun sci-fi adventures that we've had before, like Spaceballs, Star Troopers, and The Fifth Element, sometimes it explains the absurdity of life can only best be processed through satire. So this is a film that I think that you should go check out in the theaters. Absolutely. Visually stunning, some fantastic performances that are campy and fun and nuanced and dynamic, with a story, while kind of messy, still holds it together to give you a really good time with some really great dark comedy and some really solid action that I really enjoyed, with an ending that felt powerful enough to create an impact. With that said, I'm going to give Mickey 17 a B.